where are we giving ourselves permission to be our best version of self? You have to give yourself extreme permission to just learn and be curious and ask questions. You have to be your own responder. You want something in life, you have to want it more than anybody else. And you have to assume that there's no one else to help you. You have to give yourself permission every day. You just woke up every day and then first of all, you didn't even thank your body for putting up with your ass. So I should give myself permission and almost declare it every day. Like, I declare that I'm going to go out here and make a difference in my life. I declare that I'm going to go do this cardio that I freaking don't like. I declare that I'm actually going to look at my wife in the eye and tell her something sweet, pick up the kids, say hello to that one employee that, you know what, typically I don't really like them, but today I'm going to do something different because I'm going to change the pattern. I'm going to change the pattern. I'm going to make it work for me because this life is worth living. So I give myself permission to be great. And I think what happens is, by giving yourself permission, other people see that and they get frustrated because they're like, how did he figure it out? Because all I did was answer the call to my own greatness. Your ass is still wondering where the call is coming from. It's already there. Just pick up the phone and say, I accept. When we don't accept that calling, it then goes to somebody else. Someone else got, hey, who's going to pick up that phone? Someone gonna get that? Well, it's for you, Phil. No, oh shit, it's for me. If I don't pick it up in time, the way this works, it's gonna go to somebody else, and then they're gonna get the championship moment. And you and I both have seen this, whether it's been happening in our lives or someone else's life. When they don't pick it up, if you don't pick it up, that's when you don't get the girl. You don't get the date for prom that you really wanted. You settled for something else because of your indecisiveness, because of your fear. You didn't get the job. You didn't go to the school. You didn't get anything that you really wanted. And now the person that had half as much as the talent as you, that just took a risk on themselves and gave themselves permission to succeed. And if they fail, so what? You're hating on them. You're talking shit about them. You're saying, oh yeah, must be nice. Must be nice. You get to go on the vacations. Why does he have to? Oh, he's a kiss ass. He's this, he's that. No, you dummy. It was you and your inability to execute. So by me seeing that in myself and being a wuss, I had to eliminate that shit right away, because I recognized in certain areas of my life where I did stand up and say, I'm going to do this. What was the outcome? I killed it. I have to go into it knowing that I should win because I've trained for this. Now I haven't trained for that. There's danger. There's extreme danger with this. And I shouldn't do it. But if I train for this, I should know that, yep, it's heavy. It's going to be heavy, but I'm going to take it for a ride. You ready? And when I pound that chest, oh, I'm ready. And it's me reminding myself who the hell I am. And that way I can then, and only then, impose my will onto someone else. You can't impose your will on someone else if you don't know who the hell you are. So that's why I always admire those people that believe in themselves. And you're telling me that they didn't have moments where they're having that tactical minefield in their head, like saying, you can't do this, Phil. Come on, man. You don't know anything. Oh, you want to be an entrepreneur? You want to run a business? You don't know that. No shit, dude. It's not like I didn't know anything when I picked up a basketball the first time, or played the piano, or played the freaking Nintendo game. I didn't know. But I had passion behind it. I was curious about it, and I put effort into it. And I was passionately present with others so that, I could yield some good wins. And I could easily say I've had more wins than losses. And I'd say more than 95% of those wins come from extreme competitive nature derived by positive belief. Like, you could not be around me at the Olympia and say, hey, Phil, you think you're going to win this year? What are we talking about? So, a lot of people can only understand so much of this, right? But in their own lives, I think this is the most relatable thing. Being in relation to, obviously I would tell myself, Phil, you're so misunderstood because of what you achieved and this, that. Well, now I recognize it's about what's in here and what's in here that I can give. And this is part of this conversation, is that you have to give yourself extreme permission to just learn and be curious and ask questions and say, man, I don't know, man. I'm just getting started. Like, what do you think the 3 things that I should be doing right now? Do you see anything in me? Because I believe that these are my qualities. And do you think those qualities can be applicable into this? And just sitting back and shutting the hell up and letting people speak, right? So how many people think of life like that, of saying, I need to solidify this win. If I was salesman of the quarter, why not of the year? And if I was it last year, why not this year? Yep. And it just goes into that. You gamify your own process. You can't expect everybody to care about your successes more than you. But a lot of the time it happens. So at some point you have to remove that and say, well, I get that and I appreciate that. How about I prove myself right for once? Well, what does that mean? Well, let me just dream and let's visualize all of it. Let's visualize what abundance really is and realize that there's a pain tolerance involved. But how do I handle that pain? My relationship with pain, we don't have enough hours, but I can give you an example of how I deal with it. Well, you could easily super hyper focus, like going to the gym. Let's say, breakups make great bodybuilders, those type of things, right? We already know that. But I'll give you one for instance. I've shared this story and you probably already know it. But, a few years back, like 9 years ago, I was actually guest posing in Cleveland, Ohio for Dave Lieberman. Did a great event. I'm posing, I'm having fun, having a great speech. Can't remember everything, but I remember getting like a standing ovation. It was very rare. Like people were like, yeah, like this is awesome what he was saying and pouring into us. Then I get in a limo to go back to the hotel where I rinse all the tanning off, and then I go do a meet and greet with like 100 people inside of a restaurant. I found out that my father had passed away, and I had the phone on speaker, and the driver's like, Mr. Heath, and I said, just slow it down a little bit, slow down the drive, if you don't mind. So I get to the room and I'm like, no tears. Does that make me callous? I'm trying to process this. It's like, well, you already knew that your dad was sick, so this should come with no surprise. It's upsetting. Opening up the laptop and going on Facebook, and then realizing that that's not the way of handling things, because that's how everyone else handles things, and you're not them, and you're not giving yourself a time period of digesting what just happened. That doesn't mean that you're going to burst out in tears. That doesn't mean you're going to yell, but I gave myself permission. I felt like, I need to give myself some time to kind of like just sit with this and ask myself, what does this mean? You know what I got? It's like John C. Maxwell talks about the whisper. When you're in silence, you get a whisper. It's usually from above, right? Or your consciousness, like something, that voice in your head, you get a whisper. It says, go to work. You got work to do. And that sounds like my father, right? So I'm like, okay. So I go in the shower, I get everything ready. And all I did was do a nice gesture. I called up my best friend, put him on FaceTime, and your friends kind of know you. So the minute I did it, he was like, no. And I was like, yep. Shout out to Tequila, please. Cheers to my pops. That's that. By now, the promoters heard what was going on. They gave me every opportunity to just walk back to the hotel room, get a meal sent up, and call it a night and get on the next flight home. I said, no, I'm good. I just needed this moment. Just make sure there's no pictures, just me and my boy, we're just talking. And I did that, and I did my job, because guess what? I'm not the first person to go through that. And I look at it as a badge of honor of how I handle things in battle tested moments. So I never was in the military, but I always think of that, like people that get those stars, those badges and stuff, they had to go through something. This is my opportunity to say, you know what? I went through this, and now I can help somebody else go through theirs. Could you imagine going through these things? So you talk about pain. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I was upset, but there was no time for that yet. What I've learned is like, you have to still give your body, mind, and spirit an opportunity to let those feelings come. And you can't always push them underneath.